In the year 2021, conspiracy theories run rampant, from the halls of Congress to viral Facebook and blush pink Instagram posts. Conspiracy theories are nothing new in the United States. Amid a pandemic that has killed 600,000 Americans to date, conditions couldn't be riper for conspiracy theories to take hold. People tend to turn to conspiracy theories and they've lost a sense of control and feel afraid and anxious because these theories can offer comfort in the form of a black and white answer. But are they true? Now let's see the top 4 conspiracy theories of 21st century. Myths about the Holocaust. Between 1941 and 1945, 6 million Jews were killed across Europe in a horrific genocide led by Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. Despite the fact that the Holocaust is one of the best documented events in history, there are swaths of the population that don't believe it happened, or they believe the death toll has been enormously inflated. One 2014 survey, coordinated by the Anti-Defamation League, of more than 53,000 people across 100 countries found that only 30% of respondents thought historical accounts of the Holocaust were accurate. Respondents under the age of 65 were more likely to say they didn't believe the Holocaust happened as history books say it did. Poor education on the subject may be one explanation for this, but some conspiracy theorists push the anti-Semitic notion that the Holocaust was invented or exaggerated to garner sympathy and monetary gains for Jewish people while serving and advancing Jewish interests. Deborah E. Lipstadt, a historian and professor who has written books on Holocaust denial, separates Holocaust deniers into 2 groups. There are the hardcore deniers who say the Holocaust didn't happen at all. Then, Lipstadt says, there are the less fervent deniers who may admit the Holocaust happened but question the official death toll or that gas chambers were used for mass murder. Among the many poignant points Lipstadt raises about Holocaust denial is this question: for the deniers to be right, who has to be wrong? Well, certainly all the survivors, the bystanders, but most of all you have the perpetrators. They never said it didn't happen. The CIA had a hand in JFK's assassination. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested on November 22, 1963, for assassinating President John F. Kennedy Jr. that same day in Dallas, Texas. 2 days later, while being transported to a local jail, Oswald was shot and killed by Jack Ruby, a Texas nightclub owner. This shocking set of events was ripe for conspiracies from the start. Not only was a handsome, popular president fatally shot in broad daylight, but the accused assassin was also killed days later, inviting speculation about a cover-up. As early as the late 1960s, more than 50% of Americans didn't believe Oswald had acted alone. And as of 2017, 538 reports, 61% of Americans believed the assassination involved a conspiracy of some sort. There are a few main JFK conspiracy theories. One popular theory is that the CIA killed JFK in retaliation for the failed Bay of Pigs invasion to overthrow Cuban leader Fidel Castro. According to biographer Philip Sheehan, Bobby Kennedy, JFK's brother and the Attorney General, initially thought a group of rogue CIA agents was involved in JFK's death, though he later reconsidered. Another theory is that Oswald wasn't the lone gunman. People can hardly be faulted for believing this when a House of Representatives Select Committee on Assassinations found that there was, probably, a conspiracy involving a second shooter. In 1982, another committee called those findings into question, but the theory had already taken root. A third theory: the assassination was actually a mob hit meant to punish Bobby Kennedy for cracking down on the mafia. Oh, and did you hear the one about Ted Cruz's father? We're going to skip it here, but if you feel like a laugh, look into it. Princess Diana's death was no accident. When Princess Diana, a beautiful, young, royal outsider known as the People's Princess, was killed in a car crash in Paris in 1997, 1 year after her divorce from Prince Charles, conspiracies immediately abounded. The specifics vary, but the crux of most Diana-related theories is this: the car accident that killed her was not an accident. At the time of her death, she was dating Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian film producer who died in the limo alongside her, who was supposedly planning to propose to Diana the night of the accident. In a court witness statement, Dodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, said they were killed because the monarchy couldn't stand the thought of Diana and Prince Charles's sons, heirs to the British throne, having a stepfather who was Egyptian and Muslim. Dodi's father also claimed Diana was pregnant at the time of the crash, though the coroner who examined Diana said she was not. Another theory is that the limo driver, Henri Paul, who was drunk at the time of the accident, intentionally crashed the car. Because Paul was the head of security at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, where the couple had departed from just prior to the crash, conspiracy theorists believe he might have been on the payroll of a national intelligence service group that wanted Diana dead. Other theorists believe that Diana's medical care after the crash was deliberately sabotaged. For conspiracy theorists in the US, this idea arose from the differences between French and American approaches to emergency care. In France, protocol dictates that emergency medical personnel attempt to stabilize a patient before transferring to the hospital. In the US, getting to the hospital is the first priority. Because Diana was treated at the scene and not immediately rushed to the nearest hospital, some think this is proof she was purposefully killed. COVID-19 as population control. Conspiracies about the novel coronavirus are a dime a dozen. The vaccine implants a microchip used to track people, the fatality rate has been wildly inflated, and Bill Gates is not only responsible for the virus but also the head of a plot to use the virus as population control. Are you tired yet? I am. These theories have been debunked repeatedly, yet they persist. That might have something to do with then-President Donald Trump saying the virus was no more deadly than the flu and would one day disappear, like a miracle, without the need for a vaccine. Or it could be related to some Republican lawmakers who floated the idea that COVID could be a Chinese bioweapon. Or it could just be that, in a time of historic political polarization, this country was uniquely ill-suited to deal with a catastrophic pandemic that has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. Take your pick, and get your vaccine, if you're able.